again, and welcome to the Thursday edition of Land Shark Coach Talk Smackdown with Coach Chad Grier. And Coach, last week the game was a lot closer than I thought it was going to be with Legion. Of course, we didn't know a whole lot about them because they'd only played 2 games before, but they gave you guys all you can handle.
Really good football team. Did not look like a first-year team. Very well coached. Especially defensively, they were very good. They played well.
Kind of salty, though. They lost their coach and a couple players over the course of the game from penalties, and there were so many flags in the game.
A lot of penalties, unfortunately. I mean, I think probably too many. But I don't think there were bad calls. I think, just watching the film, they just saw everything. And so, unfortunately, I think in high school football, you probably could throw a flag on every play. And it felt like that for a while. They about did. And I know that was probably frustrating for those guys. It was frustrating for us too. But I was proud of our kids. They maintained their composure, and we, for the most part, walked away from trouble and stayed out of it, and played. I would say a clean game in terms of penalty-free or mistake-free. But we played well enough to win. And anytime you win, I mean, it's just not easy to win football games, and it's good to enjoy a win.
It's not. And at halftime, the score was 0-0. What happened at halftime to change things, if anything?
Well, clearly it was my halftime speech. I mean, it was, very. It was.
Yeah, I should have said, what did you say at halftime to change the course of the game?
Well, it was all the strategy we put into place. We, drew up a lot of cool stuff in the. There's a big sand pit there by the pole vault pit, and I used that as a whiteboard that we drew up.
Yeah.
No, I mean, honestly, just it's when we do well, it's because the kids do well, and I think the kids just understood that when we made some, it wasn't anything like systematic or egregious. It was just, it seemed like almost every play we had one person not able to do their job, whether it was a mental mistake or physically just not getting it done. And it's a great thing about football. I mean, it takes 11 guys to be on the same page doing their job, and it's hard sometimes to trust that the guy next to you is going to do his job. So sometimes, kids, I think, wanting to do well, try to do more than they need to do on a certain play, and that can lead to other problems. So I think we got in the second half. We had the plan didn't change. We just executed the plan better, and I thought that 99 and 9/10 yard drive was impressive, and I thought really established that we can do pretty much what we want to do if we execute cleanly. I think we have a talented football team, but again, take nothing away from Legion. Those guys played really well.
Yeah, and the 99-point-something yard drive was on the heels of an 89-yard drive. I mean, you really drove it right down their throats there when you had to.
And that was felt good for our kids to be able to do that. I think that we were frustrated at halftime with not being able to sustain drives when we had more punts that game than we had the rest of the year combined. And again, they were very well coached. They had a good plan. Watching it on film, you see more obvious being in the heat of it. But there really wasn't that we needed to make any adjustments. We just needed to make sure that we were aware of what they were doing. And from a play calling perspective, just needed to take advantage of what they were giving us. And I think we just did a good job in the second half of doing what we needed to do. We just never got that explosive. You score as many points as we do is because typically we have a lot of explosive plays, and those 2 drives we finally hit some of those. The 20-yard kind of bursts here and there, but we just really couldn't get that going in the first half and get in a rhythm where we play really fast, and that's where I think we excel on offense. So it got better.
Yeah, Keegan Williams had his worst night of the season by far.
Yeah, only 133 yards.
True, but our expectations are
that's what goes with it. But he had a 45-yard touchdown call back. It was watching the film. Was it a hold? Yeah. I mean, technically, did it impact? Would Keegan have scored without the hold? Yeah. I mean, so it's one of those deals where they keyed on him, and that's going to happen. It's going to happen, I think, throughout the playoffs. I mean, and rightfully so. He's a very talented, special player. So he's going to get a lot of attention, and that's going to be on us, on me, to make sure we're doing things to take advantage of that when people are doing it. And that means other guys got to step up and make plays, and we have to create different opportunities for Keegan.
So what do you call that formation where it seems like on the goal line, or where you really need to get out of the shadow of the goalpost? You have seems like two fullbacks get down low behind the line. What do you call that?
That's the Brunson special.
Good. I like that.
Yeah, I'm not going to tell you what we call it because I know this is going on broadcast all over
Okay,
the world.
so what would you have the announcer call that formation? Because it's like the name of this show. I'm like, well, okay, there's a formation where there are two guys that are kind of...
They're in their heavy package. They got,
the heavy package.
They're in a heavy package.
Well,
maybe it's Rhino. I don't know, something like that.
Well, I think Brunson formation and heavy package, I'm not sure those go together, but anyway, we'll figure it out. Let's talk about your defense for a minute. You've got two back-to-back shutouts after giving up 42 points, I think, to Gray a couple of games ago. So the defense has really turned it up a notch.
Playing great. And really, it's funny because Coach Jackson and I, after the Gray game, I'm on cloud nine. I mean, that's a great win. We scored a lot of points, so I feel great about it. And I know he was certainly trying to enjoy the win, but I know it hurt him. He gave up 42 points. And it's funny, Friday night, we kind of felt it was flipped. He was delighted. We got a shutout. We got a great win. And I'm over there going, man, it kind of feels like, we won. But he's done just such a great job. And in a great game, that's really as much a credit to those guys as it is, we didn't play. They're really good on offense. But I think we continue to get better on defense. He's done some great things with scheme. We did some things up front that were I know problematic for Legion. Got us. Look, we gave them short field a lot. We didn't play well on offense in the first half, and just to get off the field and keep them getting points. Really proud of our defense. And clearly, you get into November, weather starts getting a little colder, even down here, and hopefully into that first week of December, we're going to have to play great defense to be able to win. So it's a great sign that we continue to improve each week on defense.
I know you're glad to get Ronnie Shepard back out there.
Yeah, he's moving great. He's lost a lot of weight and did that rehab process. And, man, he had 2 sacks and moving really well. He's still strong. He adds a lot. Have him back on the D-line for sure.
So we'll talk about the upcoming game against North Charleston in just a few minutes. But first, there was a little bit of controversy last week. The Post and Courier ran an article in which the high school coach from the big high school down the road here, Wando, was critical of Oceanside and other similar schools, basically alleging that they are soaking up all the good players so that the smaller schools are not able to compete, which I thought was interesting given that Wando's not exactly a small school, but you were quoted in the article as well. So how do you respond to the claim that you have an unfair advantage over other schools?
Well, let me tell you something, brother.
Is it SmackDown time now?
It almost feels like it.
It's the American dream, Mr. Charisma.
I tell you, man, it's been a real source of frustration here because we're this small school, really trying to do things the right way, really focus on academics, and look, our charter of our schools would be great in athletics. I mean, and unapologetic excellence. I mean, we've got very committed teachers, college professors on campus teaching every day. Top down, it's about school safety. It's about sense of community and family. And look, we're going to prioritize sports, and that's something that people want to see and do and be great at. That's why our school's popular. And we have coaches that don't teach; they're very focused on coaching. The model works, and my experience, not being from here, being here a few years, my experience is when you have success, that generates a lot of envy and the haters come out to attack the more success you have. So when I first kind of got into this, I'm like, all right, whatever. I mean, it's out there. They were just different, new, and non-traditional, so people are going to take shots at us. But as long as we're doing things the right way, and we know we are, and we're transparent, the door's open. Anybody can come anytime. I mean, see what we do. We'll just kind of carry on. But it's gotten to the point now where the guy from that other school stood up in front of the Coaches Association and said nobody should scrimmage us or 7-on-7 us or play us. It's just this almost collusion to be to try to get people to blackball us. And I don't understand, because I thought coaches were supposed to be this for kids. And if anybody thinks we have a competitive advantage, they haven't seen our wonderful athletic facilities. And the fact of it is we play by the exact same rules, exact same eligibility rules. There's no difference. You're putting that propaganda out there that we have no attendance zones. That's not true when it comes to sports. It's just not true.
I don't know what that means. No
Well,
attendance.
one of the big arguments that is trying to be put out there is that we can take kids from anywhere. And the reality of it is, if you transfer in our school, they want people to believe we're cherry picking student athletes. You know, they don't want to believe that Michael McCoy's been here for 4 years,
Right.
from 105 pounds to whopping 135 pounds now in 4 years and starting at corner. They don't believe that's possible. That the same kids could work hard and actually have success. And they won't believe we're just out taking kids from anywhere we want and they can play right away and we have this huge competitive advantage. In fact, we have the exact same rules. We're bound to the exact same attendance zones at other schools. If our kids don't live within it or have a bona fide move into it, they can't play. I mean, that's just like everybody else in the state. So it's frustrating for me to be told we have competitive advantages and that we should be blackballed, nobody should play us. And then, the huge disadvantage we have is we're not allowed to have a B team or a C team. Every other high school in the state is allowed to do that, but we're not. So, while I watch our rec department in town, which has thrived for years, being the only source of real football in our community, been torn apart this year because that other school's got a B team and a C team. Well, if that's better for kids, great. I got no problem with it. But we're not allowed to have a B team or a C team. So for me, I would love to have kids be able to test drive our program. I mean, come see how you like our coaches or our school. And why should they not be able to see ours and have a choice if they can? Their only choice is to see theirs.
So why can't you have a B and a C team?
It's against the rules.
Why? Why?
I just what the rules are.
I mean, is it what I don't understand is why would Wando be allowed to have a B and a C team, but Oceanside doesn't? Do you not have the same rules?
No, we have a different rule. So we have a competitive disadvantage. That's my whole point. Is we don't have not only do not have competitive advantages, we have competitive disadvantages.
What rule is it? Is it your school rule?
No. It's a statewide rule.
But it doesn't apply to all schools.
It applies to all schools except for charter schools. We're not allowed to have B teams or C teams. You cannot participate at our school unless you're unenrolled from your current school and enrolled at ours. Meaning, if you're in the 8th grade, you can't participate with us until you graduated from middle school and started, being enrolled. How your paperwork's in, paid your fees, and you're enrolled here to start. In summer you can come to practice. So I had a swim parent who's been volunteering at our meets for 2 years, has a middle school swimmer that they're committed. They want to come to Oceanside. They're applying for the lottery, hoping they get in. And said, look, we love to come train and work out with your team. We can do that at Wando's our choice, or we have to just continue doing our own thing or whatever. And can we do it at your school? And I said, unfortunately, no. I mean, I wish you could. I mean, I appreciate you volunteering and being part of our school community and helping us out, but that doesn't get you anything. They can't bend the rules. I mean, they are what they are.
And I know just 3 years ago there was no wait list, but now applications far exceed the availability, right?
They do, and fortunately, if the people that have applied early, then for this first lottery, they tend to make it in. I mean, so they get through they clear the wait list, but they have to be patient. It doesn't happen. There's a wait list. I mean, the last 2 years from day one. But if you're patient, but what happens is, people find out of our school late, or they apply late, and they get farther down that list. And certainly from a football perspective, if you're not in school accepted and ready to start practice in June, you're doing it somewhere else. And sometimes that list doesn't clear till July, because what happens is people make other decisions. They're not in yet, and they've got to get stability for their family and their kids where they're going to go to school. So, it's that's a little bit of a challenge too. But the good news is that hopefully I'll continue. But the demand certainly continues to increase. I think because of the value in the education and what we do, it is a safe, family, community-oriented environment, and academics are great and doing pretty well in sports. So I think that demand's going to continue to be there. We just can't create any more capacity, any more supply, because this is as big as we're going to get.
Right. So speaking of the academics and the quality of the school, you got some really good news this week.
Yeah, not bad for the diploma factory, is what we've been accused of being, as one of those things put out there about us by our
that
friendly
is not
neighbors.
true.
So we're the highest scoring school in the statewide report card in Berkeley, Dorchester, and Charleston County, which that includes a school over there across the street that likes to refer to us as a diploma factory. So pretty proud of our teachers, our administration, and certainly our kids for what they continue to do in the classroom.
And of course, that's with the exception of the magnet schools.
With the exception, I think Academic Magnet and the School of the Arts both scored higher than we did.
My daughter would be really upset with me if I didn't point that out.
Hey, I mean,
she goes to the
great,
magnet.
great schools. And in fact, my favorite student section is Academic Magnets. That was my introduction to low country sports, and they were the bird cage. I think they are. They were great. They were fun. They gave us an earful. They were fun.
Well, let's talk about North Charleston. We've got a home game, Park West again, right, this week, and it's our first conference game, homecoming game. People at school here today, which is where we tape this show, are all dressed kind of odd because of the homecoming week. In fact, one person was even dressed as Coach Grier. It was gender change day, so there was a woman now who's dressed up like Coach Grier, which they say it's a pretty easy target.
Yeah, it's a bad look, isn't it? Bless her heart, she looked terrible.
So anyway, North Charleston, they're 2-2, and how do you see this game?
Well, we're trying to make the focus about us, and as we talked about a lot yesterday with the kids, is that it doesn't matter who we're playing. Timberland's out there looming, but we don't play them for 3 weeks. We play North Charleston this week, and whether it's North Charleston or Timberland or anybody else in between, we have to get better at just controlling us. And it's not about who we're playing. Had a great opportunity to attend an FCA event the other night with Rashad. Coach Jackson and I went, and one of the topics the main behind the message was that competition's intended to be. If you go back to the original Greek of the word where it comes from, it's really it's not about competing so much against, but with. And like the fact is, if you didn't have an opponent, you wouldn't have a contest. It wouldn't be a game. But the focus really needs to be on us and how we handle our business and how we play the game and celebrate that we got somebody to compete with and hopefully makes us better. And I think that's what we're trying to focus on is just getting better at execution, better at the way we play with class, play with great passion, and play for each other, not so much just playing with each other. So, that's not intended to sound as fluffy as everybody gets a trophy kind of thing, but as it probably sounds. But I think for us, it really is about raising our level of play regardless of who we're playing. That's taking nothing away from North Charleston. I think Coach Smalls has done a great job. They're definitely better this year than they were last year. They've got some guys that can take it to the house. I mean, they're just going to be faster than we are. Number 3 does a great job. Their quarterback is very athletic. They got a giant nose guard that he's about as big as that door frame. It's going to be a challenge for our center to have to snap and get off to play an odd front. So he's right on top of our center. So they're going to create some problems for us that it'd be interesting to see how our kids deal with. Especially we've had so many kids out sick this week. We've had I think 15 different kids out, including this Brunson kid. He won't come to school anymore. I don't know what's his deal.
He's back today.
Well, I'll see him in practice or not.
He'll be there.
All right.
If he's not, you let me know.
I'll let you know.
All right. Well, Coach, I don't know if there was any wrestling on TV last night. Of course, I don't know if there's wrestling on TV any night, but
well, of course you do. It's Monday Night Raw. That's a standard. The pay-per-views are on Sundays. But if you get the WWE,
you mean you actually pay?
No, because if you get the app, you get all of them for free. So the apps, it's worth it. You get all the archives and stuff. But I was thinking for a trivia deal. Miss Corley, do you know who the most famous decorated athlete ever to come out of Fiji is?
Of Fiji?
Mm-hmm.
I've no, but I'm sure he was a Falcon.
See, the casual sports fan would likely say Vijay Singh.
Golfer.
Yeah, I mean that's probably who you go with. But to somebody that really is
I didn't know
embedded
he was from Fiji.
in sports would probably immediately go to Jimmy Superfly Snuka.
Of course they would. I mean,
So
that
there
was
you
on
go.
the tip of
So
my tongue.
That's just for your trivia night at Noah Mushroom or something, and that comes up. Most decorated famous athlete out of Fiji, Superfly Snuka.
I know you're all glad now you tuned in and you have enlarged your view of the world.
Absolutely.
All right, Coach, good luck Friday
Thank you.
night.
Appreciate it.
We'll talk next week.
All right, sounds good.